Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, here to look ahead to the Scottish Premiership fixtures this weekend. There's 5 on that we're going to look at, one on the Sunday as well, which is a bit of a dead rubber. So we're focusing on the important ones on the Saturday, involving our Not the Old Firm clubs, and as well as that, the lower leagues are back as well. So there'll be plenty of coverage on them as they return on our website and on our social media. All of that is in the description. 5 games on the Saturday. Dundee United v Aberdeen, Hamilton versus St Mirren, Kilmarnock v Motherwell, Livingston versus Hibernian, and St Johnstone versus Ross County, all of which are the final games before the split, and we see who is finally in the bottom 6 and top 6. Most of the places are all settled, but there are still a few things to be decided, and not only that, perhaps more so at the bottom, still lots of important points to play for. Starting at Tannadice, Dundee United versus Aberdeen. Yeah, obviously the teams have been on a 2-week break, but it's been anything but quiet for Aberdeen in particular. Yeah, the speculation merry-go-round over their new manager is commencing. If you haven't checked out our full video with Sander Diamond from last week, do check that out. That goes in a bit more depth about sort of the situation at Pittodrie. Paul Sheeran's first game as interim manager this weekend, helped by Neil Simpson and Barry Robson. I think Dave Cormack described in an interview this week as Bielsa-like in the way he likes to play high-pressing football. So who knows? Maybe the ideal candidate is right there. But aside from the Barry Robson-Bielsa comparisons, it's a big game for Aberdeen. Dundee United already, they can get into the top 6, but I mean, it would take something quite extraordinary. They would need to win by a 7-goal swing on St Mirren, who are playing away to Hamilton. So, say for example, I think Dundee United would maybe need to win 4 or 5-0, or then St Mirren would need to be beaten 2 or 3-0, and they would also need to hope St Johnstone also lost as well. So yeah, the odds are stacked against them, Dundee United, but it could happen. Probably very, very unlikely. But Aberdeen, perhaps more so for them, they could lose yet more ground on Hibs. Hibs won their game in hand against Ross County last weekend. So if Aberdeen lose this weekend, Hibs managed to beat Livingston in their match. And yeah, the gap could look pretty insurmountable. It could be 9 points by the time going to the split, and that probably is just a bit too much for Aberdeen at this stage in the season heading into the split. Stephen Glass and Scott Brown look more and more likely to become the sort of the partnership at Aberdeen, albeit it's all still down to reports and stuff now. They're going through the recruitment process, but it looks as if they could be the men to lead Aberdeen. That would be an interesting appointment, but I suppose still nothing confirmed yet and still to be decided. So one to keep an eye on in the northeast. Hamilton v St Mirren is going to be the one I'm at. For me, game of the weekend, Hamilton needing points at the bottom to sort of try and keep themselves afloat really and stop them from getting cut adrift. Ross County in 10th are 3 points above them. And while Hamilton's performances haven't been all that bad recently, they are on a poor run. I think it's only 1 win in the last 10 or 11 matches. So they really need to start picking up 3 points, but against a St Mirren side looking to secure their first ever top 6 Scottish Premiership finish, then that'll be a difficult task. And we heard from Jim Goodwin ahead of that. Dylan Reid made his debut away to Rangers a couple of weeks ago, making him the youngest Scottish Premiership player in history, at least since the 1998 rebrand. You know how young he is, because I'm actually a few years older than him, sorry, yes, nearly said younger, because that is what I have been used to throughout my time in Scottish football, people being older than me. But Dylan Reid is I've actually got a few years on him. One thing I haven't got, which Dylan has, is suitors of massive clubs all over the land, from Scotland to England to even Germany. There's plenty of eyes on him, but Jim Goodwin has confirmed St Mirren have offered him a new deal.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, and yes, he was the 15-year-old boy I spoke about way back at the beginning of the season. And the academy is really important to us as a club here, and I didn't need reminded of that when I took the job on. I've said numerous occasions I want to be recognised as a manager that gives young players an opportunity, and the age doesn't fear me. And it's the same with older players. I don't mind signing a 33 or a 34-year-old either. If they're still fit enough and they're healthy enough, then it doesn't bother me. But Dylan is now obviously turned 16. We were able to give him his debut at Ibrox a couple of weeks ago, and it was no more than he deserved. He's been in with the first team now for a number of weeks training. he's used to the surroundings now, and he's a lot more confident in himself, and he just looks like he belongs here. You know, he's 16 and he's mixing it with 30-year-olds, and he's not out of place in the slightest. So we're delighted to have him, and we're very hopeful that we'll be able to get a longer term deal sorted out for Dylan in the next couple of days. Hopefully, the talks are ongoing there, and I think that would be brilliant for the club because, as I said, the academy is pivotal to the long-term future of the club, and Alan McManus deserves a lot of credit for that. I had a really good meeting with his family about 10 days ago now, and just I explained to them what my kind of feelings were in terms of for Dylan's development and his progress. Why staying at St Mirren was the best option for him. And yeah, I mean, look, he's had his head turned by a number of huge clubs. We're not talking about just here in Scotland. The two big boys in Scotland would love to have him. Half a dozen of the big lads in England would love to have him, and we've got teams in Germany as well. So, yeah, we're very fortunate that he's here right now. But I think we've managed to put our point across to his mum about the importance of staying here.
Kilmarnock versus Mueller at Rugby Park. These sides met a few weeks ago in what might look like the coldest game in existence, but this one should be a bit warmer with the nicer weather we're having, albeit the stakes will still be very, very high. Kilmarnock are 4 points adrift from Ross County in 10th. Potentially, if they lose this, they could be 7 behind with 4 or 5 games to go in the split. And yeah, that's like similar to Aberdeen. That begins to look like an insurmountable tally, especially with the form Kilmarnock have been on. Yeah, it's been a tough sort of few months since sort of hit this really poor run form. It's not been a great season overall, but form sort of December time onward has really had them slide down the league, and now they're in really dangerous relegation territory, and they really need a victory over Mueller. But for Mueller, plenty of incentive for them. Well, they do look like they've done just about enough. If they pick up a couple of results here and there, they look like they might just do enough to be safe, but this one could pretty much almost seal it. If they win this, I think it's 13 points clear of Kilmarnock in bottom, 12 ahead of Hamilton. If Hamilton slip up and lose against St Mirren, and that could leave them perhaps just one result to secure that they won't finish bottom, and then perhaps another couple of points here or there to make sure they don't finish in the relegation playoff spot. So still plenty to play for at the moment for Mull. We heard from Graham Alexander ahead of this one. Scotland's squad has been announced this week. Declan Gallagher's involved again, so is Stephen O'Donnell, but in-form goalkeeper Liam Kelly isn't. But his time for the Scotland squad isn't far away, according to Alexander.
It's good for everyone. Certainly, I was two boys. They're fantastic what they've done for Scotland so far in achieving the qualification for the Euros, and they deserve to be in that squad. And obviously, the manager is rewarding them with continued inclusion in the squads, and they deserve it on their performances. They've been brilliant in the time I've been here, just in the 2.5 months. But for Scotland, it's been a longer period than that, and they've never let the country down. So it's a great privilege to be in the Scotland squad, the international squad. It's also it's great for us as a club. We're chuffed for that. It's brilliant to see our players achieving success and fulfilling their careers. So hopefully they'll be picked in the games as well and get good game time and show what they can do leading up into Euros, which is a massive sort of carrot really at the end of the season. And but they're two top professionals and they deserve to be included, and we're chuffed for them. I'm not surprised, but look, there's going to be more than 23 good Scottish players to choose from, and Steve Clarke's done a brilliant job in how he's created that environment, the teamship, where everyone wants to go and be included, and but he'll know, as we all do. Every match day squad that I pick, there's always players that you can include, and he's got a much bigger pool of players to pick from. So he'll know without a shadow of a doubt, being the top manager he is, that he's got a good group of players that he's picked this time. But he's also got a good group of players outside of that, trying the hardest to get in it. And Liam certainly is one of those. His performances for us have been fantastic, and it's not just his performances; it's the way he is around the training ground, on the training pitch. When I'm talking about this sort of will to win, this daily will to win. He's the epitome of that, and that's what we need in this club, and that's what football needs, and that's what Scotland needs. So I'm sure in the future the opportunity for Leo will come. I'm sure he'll grasp it, but he's going to have to work hard.
Livingston versus Hibernian at Almond Vale. I've still not really got fully round to calling it the Tony Macaroni Arena, but we will call it that. No, I need to start that game. Livingston versus Hibernian at the Tony Macaroni Arena. Should be an interesting tie. This both sides obviously secured in the top 6. Livingston doing it last week. Hibs are looking to push on in their quest for the top 6. A victory in this one for them could sort of move them 9 points clear of Aberdeen. You would like to think that would be enough for the Hibees to finish in third spot. But for Livingston, still plenty of incentive for them as well. They want to finish as high up the table as they can, perhaps. I mean, they finished, I think it was joint 5th last year before the league was brought to a premature end. They will be looking to do similar in this season's campaign. And finally, St Johnstone versus Ross County in Perth. Massive game for both sides. Ross County looking to move away from 11th and 12th, although that will be a difficult task away an informed St Johnstone side, one of the formed teams in the Scottish Premiership just now. But if they win and St Mirren lose, or potentially draw depending on goal difference away to Hamilton, then St Johnstone could sneak that top 6 spot. You'd like to think St Johnstone are favourites for this. I think Jim Goodwin even recognised during the week that St Johnstone would likely beat Ross County, but Ross County will still fancy their chances. They have sort of been win, loss for the last few weeks. So technically on that form, they were beat last week, all Hibs. They're due a win this week against St Johnstone. But will that continue? It remains to be seen. And John Hughes, speaking ahead of the game, victim of more penalty trouble last week with Martin Boyle. John Hughes has accused him of conning the ref. I won't go that far and embroil myself in that debate. But apart from the Speedos chat, John Hughes is hoping that referees can get help in Scotland to help the brand of Scottish football.
I've not got a finger of blame against Boyle, part and parcel of the game. I've not got a finger of blame against John Beaton. I think he got conned. I think once he sees that, he'll realise that, and he's the one that's made to look stupid giving a penalty. I was a little bit disappointed diving in the box. He never took action on that, on the other one. But we need help. We need help in it. So I'm a wee bit, what does concern me is, and it goes back to my time here, is there's something fundamentally not right in the Scottish game where guys are diving to seek an advantage, conning the referee, and there's no action done about it, because if there was, the powers that be will be seen not to be backing the referee. That's not right. Two wrongs are not kind of make it right. Well, if it's part and parcel of the game, we've got to join the party. Or what we've got to do, if that's the way the game's going, then you need to join the party. Simple. One thing I'll never do is, I'm an honest guy, I'll never coach it. You know what I mean? But the boys are telling me on Saturday, we've got a referee, Craig Napier, that booked Harry Payton for diving fourth game of the season against Dundee United, where it was a stonewall penalty. You couldn't make it up. You know, you get to know their character and everything like that, and you feel with them. You feel for them, but they're in good shape, trained really well yesterday. We're going into a practice match today. There'll be a competition for places. The sun's out, doing something that we love. Come on! Brilliant! Away for the missus. Oh, brilliant!
A few literal hiccups from me later, a few managers speaking, and a couple of new deals on the table. That's our preview ahead of the weekend's matches done. Do remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with all the stuff across our Twitter and our website. All the links in the description. There's Scotland stuff happening next week, so we'll have, hopefully, previews to the World Cup qualifiers and then an instant reaction 2 of the 3 games, starting with Austria on the 25th, and then 2 more games after that. Israel away. I am sick of Israel, but one more time, I suppose, won't do us any harm. Probably will, because I will be forced to watch 90 minutes of it. But then after that, we'll have the Faroe Islands before we return to an action-packed end to the season across the Premiership, Championship, League One and League Two, with the Scottish Cup back early next week as well. So we hope you have enjoyed this. Do remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, take it easy.